ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra. It's difficult to encapsulate the man in sort of a talk, but I'll do my best to give an overview of what the man was about. He's a man who challenged that phrase, coined the phrase, challenged the darkness, and his life, throughout his life, even 20 years after his shahidi, his light is still around with us. But just to give a bit of background about Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra, and a bit of background as to how he came onto the scene and done what he done. We all know in 1984, without going into too much depth, for those of you who know about RajoanaTV, if you go onto RajoanaTV on YouTube, we've got quite a few videos that discuss what led up to Operation Blue Star. But just in a nutshell, from 1947 up until 1984, the government used quite a few repressive policies to suppress the Sikh nation and Panjab as a state. They denied our language, they denied our existence. In Article 25, we weren't even classed as Sikhs. They took our water free of charge, they took our electricity free of charge. They already had stormed Harmandir Sahib in 1951, and they'd almost arrested 200,000 Sikhs who were peacefully protesting at the fact that we had no say in the constitution or no place in it. They split Punjab in half, half went to Pakistan, so that was stolen away from us. Then it was split further in half, and they created Himachal Pradesh out of it and Haryana. Our water's being taken, our electricity is being taken, and this is a state that relies, and we've all got family back home, we rely on farming, on agriculture, and if you're robbing our electricity and our water, the farmers have got nothing. So Sikhs were protesting, and one man crystallized all this protest, and he voiced the concerns of all these poor people, and his name was Sant Janel Singh Khalsa. And when he voiced the concerns of all these people, rather than sit down with him as a democratic country, India says they're the largest democracy in the world, rather than sit down and say, right, Mr. Pindrawala, these are your economic, social and political demands, let's talk about this in a political way, all they did was they simply dubbed him as a terrorist and attacked Harmandir Sahib. Under the guise of trying to get Sant Pindrawala and to teach Sikhs a lesson, give them a big bloody punch on the nose for asking for their rights. They brought in the might of the Indian Armed Forces. They brought in the Border Security Force, the Special Frontier Force, Punjab Armed Police. They brought in all these different armies, including the Vijayantha battle tanks, howitzer helicopters, Russian jet bombers, all the things they used and manpower, all the equipment and manpower they used against Pakistan and China, they brought to the doorstep of Harmandir Sahib in 1984. And they tried to tell us that this was to get one man out. And after the destruction at Harmandir Sahib, after bringing all these armed forces, close to 200,000 armed forces, mobilizing the air, the navy and the land forces, the Vijayantha battle tanks, jet bombers, were they simply going to go, right, okay, job's done now, Sant Pindrawala has been made shaheed, let's go back to Delhi? They kept those weapons in Punjab and used rosy, nice terminology like Operation Woodrose, Operation Shanti, Operation Metal, and with these cozy names and these armaments and manpower, they combed the streets, the fields of Punjab, and they picked out youth like you guys, exactly like you guys, teenagers, early 20s, thinkers, intellectuals, people from colleges and universities, and eliminated them. So for the next 20 years, from 1984 till, or you could say the next 10 years when it was at its most brutal phase, we claim that 200,000 Sikhs have been made to disappear, gone from the face of this earth. And the world points to us and they say, what is the evidence? If you say so many Sikhs were killed, and it was actually legalized through acts like the National Security Act, I mean, you can research these, they're really repressive acts. Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, Asia Watch, they've all condemned these acts, saying that they're not humane, they're not fit for humans, but these were applied in Punjab only. National Security Act, the Terrorist Anti-Disruptive Activities Act, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, all these acts basically said that you can arrest anyone in Punjab if you suspect that they are a terrorist. And how did they have that suspicion if someone's a terrorist? They sent out a circular to the army and said that anybody who ties a pug, wears a kada, and reads Nanak's Bani is a terrorist. So with these acts in place to legalize the killing and that description, you're going to look at a lot of dead bodies. It's the equivalent of David Cameron saying, right, I'm going to say to the Chief Commissioner of West Midlands Police, any Sikh that you see, if you think they're a terrorist, eliminate them. On suspicion, you don't have to arrest them, you don't have to charge them, you don't have to produce them in a court of law, just get rid of them. I think within a day, you won't see any Sikhs in the West Midlands. This is effectively what had happened in Punjab. But the world always pointed fingers and saying, where's the evidence? And this is where we cue Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra's place in our history. Just a bit of background on Jaswant Singh Khalra, so we get a flavour of who the man was and where he came from. Just a background on him. Jaswant Singh Khalra was born in 1952 in village Khalra, and it sits on the border of India and Pakistan, right in the middle, smack bang in the middle. His dad's name was Baba Kartar Singh, and he had 3 brothers and 5 sisters. All 5 sisters were married to normal farmers. And Sardar Khalra's family weren't rich by any means. Everything pretty much in their life was simple. Clothes, food, anything they'd done was simple. There wasn't much money to go around, and Sardar Khalra's mom used to milk cows to get extra money, just so they could feed and clothe them. But Baba Kartar Singh, Sardar Khalra's father, always said, even if I can't put food in your belly, even if I can't give you a nice shirt to wear, one thing you will be is educated. One thing you will have is an educated, awakened mind. Sardar Khalra's education. He was quite bright, really bright in his studies from primary school to secondary school. By 1969, he'd enrolled at the Baba Buddha College at Jabal, which was 30 kilometers from his village. Because his father couldn't afford the money for residence, he had to travel 30 kilometers on a bus every single day to get to college. By 1981, Sardar Khalra had married Bibi Pritam Kaur, and he'd gone on to have 2 children. But it's important to know already from the outset what kind of blood was already running through Sardar Khalra's veins. Sardar Khalra's grandfather, Baba Harnam Singh, was one of the founding members of the Ghadar movement. The Ghadar movement was formed to get the British out of India when they were ruling India. So he was instrumental in getting the British out and starting the Ghadar movement. This is Baba Harnam Singh, Sardar Khalra's grandfather. Sardar Surat Singh was somebody who is in the ancestry of Sardar Khalra. He fought under the command of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur and tore down the Mughal Empire. There's actually a monument in Khalra's village for Sardar Surat Singh. So it's important to know as we go through this journey of Sardar Khalra that already in his veins, this blood of Shahidi and sort of revolution was already running through there. When Sardar Khalra enrolled in college, he wasn't too interested in his studies, and he'd already shown signs of being a revolutionary. He called himself a scientific socialist, and he got involved in people's problems, even if they didn't concern him. Now, one of the things he got involved in, a police officer from police station Manojal had molested a lower caste girl, and nobody had done anything about that. And Sardar Khalra led a protest to that police station and demanded that that policeman be brought to justice. He even organized raids on black market selling of pesticides and fertilizers. He even organized a protest which went mass and viral in Punjab because he didn't like how much people were paying for cinema tickets. Something as trivial as that, he organized a mass protest against cinema tickets. But all this was sort of a backdrop. All these little bits of agitation that he was doing in college was probably just a backdrop to what would be his masterpiece, what we're going to talk about. But Jaswant Singh's father was really worried about Sardar Khalra because he thought, this guy's going to get in trouble. He's always getting involved in agitations, he's always getting involved in protests. I'm proud of him secretly because I'm glad I've brought up a son who's willing to stand for other people, even if it's for the minorest things. But I'm scared because the country that we live in isn't fit for somebody like him. This country isn't fit for somebody with morals and standards. So he tried to push him in the line of engineering, in trying to get a job, trying to get a shop. But why was Sardar Khalra so disinterested in education and in business? is because if you look at the world that Sardar Khalra lived in from a child, you'll get a picture of where his mindset was. As a child, Sardar Khalra was really, Sardar Khalra knew what the ravages of partition had done to India and Punjab. Because he was only a kid when India was partitioned, when Punjab was partitioned, and half went to Pakistan, and his village lay in the middle. And for the next 20-30 years, every time India went to war with Pakistan, village Khalra would have to be evacuated. Tales of murder, rape of Sikh women from the Pakistan side, he knew it all. His grandfather, Baba Harnam Singh, lamented that this country that we fought for, this country that we created the Ghadar movement for to get the British out, has become more evil than the tyrant that we disposed. He felt that revolution had brought us nothing other than pain and anguish. So Sardar Khalra knew this about partition. In his teens, Sardar Khalra saw how Article 25 had denied his existence as a Sikh. In his teens, he saw how Punjab had been truncated. He saw how Himachal Pradesh and Haryana had been robbed from Punjab. He saw how Chandigarh had been taken away from Punjab. He saw how our language had been denied. He saw Darshan Singh Feruman, who, we've seen these hunger strikes now, Gurbakh Singh doing a hunger strike, fair enough, it's failed. But there was somebody called Darshan Singh Feruman in 1965 said, if you don't give Chandigarh back to Punjab, I will fast to death. That man actually became Shaheed. He took his hunger strike all the way to the end. This is what Sardar Khalra had seen in his teens. He saw a Punjab that had become the victim and the target of the Indian establishment. He saw how a language, a people, a history and an identity was being denied before his very eyes. As a young man, as a young adult, he saw that in 1978, 13 Sikhs were massacred in cold blood by the police, who were protesting against a devilish cult called the Nirankaris. These people had come into Amritsar and they basically proclaimed to everyone that this is the new Guru Nanak Dev. So they put this man, Gurbachan his name was, they put him on a seat on a sort of trolley, and they had a procession across Amritsar and said, this is the new Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They put 7 men in front of him and they said that Guru Gobind Singh created Panj Pyare. We'll go one better than him and we've got Sat Sitare. They got an eagle, put it on the shoulder of his wife and said, you call Guru Gobind Singh Bajjanwala. Well, there's a Baj on my wife, call her Bajjanwali. They called Kar Seva, Bikar Seva, and they were hurling all kinds of abuse in Amritsar on Vaisakhi 1978. And what happens is a whole bunch of Sikhs go there to protest and they're shot in cold blood by the police, 13 of them. Not a single person was arrested. This is what Sardar Khalra had witnessed as a young man. He goes along in his later life and he visits Harmandir Sahib in 1984 and he sees ruins. He sees the Parikrama broken. He sees the Akal Takht Sahib destroyed. Something that Guru Hargobind Sahib had built with his own hand, destroyed by 12 tanks. He saw the dead bodies laying on the Parikrama. He saw the beautiful pure Sarovar where we go and do Ishnan, covered in blood. This is the world that Sardar Khalra was living in. But his father was adamant. Baba Kartar Singh was adamant that Jaswant Singh, you are going to have to go and get a job. I need to get you onto a side and I need to save your own bloody life and you need to get yourself a job. So he gets him a job as the Panjab secretary in a village. So basically the head secretary of a village. But what does Sardar Khalra start doing with that job? Instead of getting involved in official village business, he uses that role to listen to the tales and the woes of mothers, of daughters, of sisters who used to come and see him and tell him that my brother's just been made to disappear. We were sitting there eating roti, we were sitting there having a chat, a police jeep came and they took my father, they took my brother. As this secretary, he started documenting all these cases. Until one day he even got somebody who had been disappeared for a couple of months, he even brought that person back. And this one little victory, even though it was one of the only ones that he had as a secretary of the Panjab, gave him inspiration to do something even greater. Now, we often talk about our genocide, and even Sardar Khalra thought to himself, if I am living in a Punjab at the moment where the murder of a Sikh is legalized by the bullet of an armed official, there must be tons of bodies. If in my job all I'm getting are people telling me that my son's disappeared, my daughter was gang raped in a police station, or that my home was set on fire, or my things were looted, and this wasn't done by some armed bandits, this wasn't done by some looters, it was done by the people that were supposed to protect them, by the police, by the army, and organized by the politicians. If this is happening, how many victims are there? And for a long time, even at this point, Sikhs across the world, even in the UK, started saying our people are on the verge of physical extermination in Punjab. That's how many bodies are being created. Physical extermination. Again, the world's question was, where's the evidence? A report was published in 1992 in an English magazine. This was in India, but it was an English magazine called The Pioneer. And it said that through the disappearances, through the fake encounters, through the extrajudicial killings of Sikhs, most of the bodies were being thrown in the river. And this was an English magazine called The Pioneer in 1992. They say in the magazine that the neighbouring state of Panjab, Rajasthan, made a complaint, lodged an official complaint with the centre, saying, can you stop throwing Sikh bodies into the river because they're blocking our water. They're blocking our water supply. This is officially documented. But then Sardar Khalra is also hit personally. It's often said that Sardar Khalra only went searching for dead bodies when his own went missing. But this denigrates the life of a man who spent a whole lifetime helping people. But something did hit him personally. Sardar Khalra got a job in a bank, and the managing director of that bank is a co-op bank. His name was Dara Singh, the managing director. Dara Singh was picked up by the police. Even though he was a managing director of a bank, he was picked up by the police. 2 days later, it came in the newspaper that Dara Singh was a terrorist and killed in an armed encounter. So Jaswant Singh Khalra starts looking for his body. While Sardar Khalra is looking for his body, he goes in the middle of the night, in the still of the night, and he searches through Amritsar. Not only was he looking for Dara Singh's body, he was also looking for the body of the Jathedar of the Akal Takht, the Baba Gurbachan Singh Manochal's 87-year-old mother, who had also been picked up by the police. As he's searching for Dara Singh, looking for Dara Singh, he goes to 3 cremation grounds: Durgyana Mandir, Tarn and Patti. These are just 3 cremation grounds. He starts looking at the registers of all the people that have been brought to this cremation ground. And this is where Jaswant Singh Khalra makes a gory discovery. A discovery that won't just change his life, but the life of thousands, if not millions of Sikhs even today. As he's searching for Dara Singh and Baba Gurbachan Singh's 87-year-old mother, he comes across reams and reams and reams of names of Sikhs who had been cremated there illegally. He comes across purchases of sandalwood that is used to cremate the bodies. He then goes back to these cremation grounds, and under the guise of a municipal corporation administrator, so somebody who's from the local government, he says, I need to do a bit of checking. As he's going through all these, that over 2,000 Sikhs had been illegally cremated in those 3 cremation grounds alone. 2,000. We live in a world where a girl like Madeleine McCann can go missing, and the whole world would try and look for her, justifiably so. A young child's gone missing. This man finds 2,000, and we're not just talking about armed militants of militancy age, people like you guys. We're talking about 3-year-old babies, 87-year-old grandmothers, and everything in between. 2,000 of them. Jaswant Singh Khalra. Now this is the most scary thing, really, if you think about it, and this is the way Sardar Khalra thought about it himself. If I have found 2,000, just over 2,000, I think it's 2021, if I have found 2021 dead Sikh bodies in just 3 cremation grounds in Amritsar, there are 13,000 villages in Panjab. Most of the villages have their own cremation ground. That's a possible 13,000 cremation grounds. Even if only one person is cremated in each of those illegally by the police, even if only one person is illegally cremated, that's 13,000 people. Now, why was it important for the police to pick up people like us and illegally cremate them? Because when they would pick us up, they wouldn't pick us up in a legal way. They'd make us disappear in the middle of the night. They'd take us to a torture centre. They'd rip our nails out. They'd tear us limb from limb. They'd put us in boiling water. You know what the Mughals used to do to us? This Indian establishment did exactly that to us just over 20, 30 years ago. So how could you produce someone like that in court? And when they did tell people that, yes, this person, Sarabjit Singh, was killed in a fake encounter, a post-mortem would show that Sarabjit Singh, if I was killed in a fake encounter, if I was killed in an encounter, I would have ballistic wounds. I would have the wounds to suggest that I was firing back or that I was killed from some distance. All these dead bodies were shot at point-blank range, which is why they had to be made to disappear. So what does Jaswant Singh Khalra do? He comes home and he's changed forever. And he knows that the paper trail from the dead bodies to the person who's ordered them goes all the way up top to the Director General of Punjab Police, KPS Gill, who was known as the Butcher of Punjab, the person who had implemented Operation Woodrose, Operation Shanti, Operation Shuddhikaran, that had made the rape of Sikh women legal. This led all the way up to KPS Gill. KPS Gill could make anybody disappear. Now, what would somebody like me do if I'd made a gory discovery like that? I'd sit on it. I wouldn't have the courage if I knew that the Chief Commissioner of West Midlands Police is a known butcher, is a known killer of my people. Would I have the guts to say I have found evidence that he has made all these people disappear? No. What does Sardar Khalra do? In 16 January 1995, he calls a press conference in which he not only documents that I have found all these people, many had been tortured, all these people have been illegally cremated as unidentified bodies. He also points and says KPS Gill is the person who has ordered this. Can the government tell us where these 2,000 people have gone? Now, what does KPS Gill do? KPS Gill calls his own press conference and he's saying, you know, these 2,000 people that you saying have gone missing, they've all gone abroad. They've gone to Italy illegally, they've gone to America, they've gone to Canada, they've gone to find jobs, they've gone to get out of Punjab. What does Sardar Khalra do? He calls another press conference and he challenges KPS Gill, the Director General of Punjab Police, and he says, I challenge you to a debate. I challenge you to confront me. I challenge you to confront my findings. And after this press conference, a very chilling and sinister threat is made to Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra. SSP Ajit Sandhu, who was a henchman of KPS Gill. He was the superintendent of police in Sardar Khalra's area. He is the one who had implemented all these cremation grounds in Amritsar. And he said this in the media. Now imagine this happening in the world that we live in. The SSP, Ajit Sandhu, said, if Sardar Khalra is saying, because at this point Sardar Khalra said, if I found 2,000, I can tell you that there's 25,000 minimum. 25,000 minimum. SSP Ajit Sandhu says in the media that if Khalra is saying that he has found 25,000 unidentified, unclaimed, illegally cremated Sikh bodies, tell him to make that 25,001. And this was said in the media. What does Jaswant Singh Khalra do? He goes to Canada in 1995. He goes to the UK. He comes on our soil in 1995. He goes to America and he visits every Gurdwara and makes speeches. And you can see some of his speeches on YouTube. They're quite harrowing. And he tells people like you guys who are sat here, he says, I'm coming from Panjab and I'm telling you that for year after year you guys are going to your little high commissions and you're doing your protests about what happened in 84. I am telling you I have found the bodies. The killings have not stopped. He visits MPs in Canada. He visits human rights activists. He visits the governments. Somebody called Colleen, who was an MP at Canada, she begged Jaswant Singh Khalra and said, please don't go back to India. We will give you permanent citizenship here. You have exposed the system. You've used the system and exposed it. But don't go back. Don't go back because you'll disappear as well. And Jaswant Singh Khalra said that my principles, firstly, won't allow me to stay. And secondly, my work isn't finished. So Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra gets back onto a plane and goes straight back into the pit of hell called Panjab at the time. And he lands back in Panjab and continues his work. But by this time, the Intelligence Bureau, knowing that Sardar Khalra has made some international links and he's exposed a lot of police officers, the Intelligence Bureau started visiting Sardar Khalra's house on Kabir Road in Amritsar, trying to intimidate him, trying to intimidate his wife. SSP Ajit Sandhu sends even more direct threats. KPS Gill, the Director General of Punjab Police, is sending threats. Prank calls are being made to the home to try and frighten Sardar Khalra's wife and children. And by this point, Sardar Khalra's family and friends are saying to him, will you please invest in some security for yourself? Will you please keep somebody armed, somebody who can protect you at all times? And Sardar Khalra said to Bibi Paramjit Kaur, his wife, he said that if anybody sees me with protection, if somebody like me, who's the head of the human rights wing of the Akali Dal, somebody who's been abroad, if somebody like me needs protection, who will have the courage to come and tell their story? Which armed, poor person will tell their story? So he doesn't get any armed bodyguards, he doesn't get any personal protection. And then one day, a well-wisher of Sardar Khalra, who was part of the Congress party at the time, he was an MLA, he told Sardar Khalra that there are people out there who are salivating like hungry dogs waiting to rip your body to pieces. Because you're the only man who is evidencing this genocide, this silent genocide that we've been carrying out for 10-15 years on the Sikh people. Not only is KPS Gill and Ajit Sandhu and the rest of the Punjab police ready to tear you limb from limb, the Intelligence Bureau is ready to do it. And more importantly, the Chief Minister of Punjab, Byanta, who had ordered all of this, he's ready to tear you apart. And this MLA, you can find him on the internet, he told Sardar Khalra and Bibi Paramjit Kaur that your death has been sanctioned by the Chief Minister of Punjab. It's over. What does Sardar Khalra do? Does he move to another state? Does he try and go back to Canada? Does he try and keep hold of his wife and children and think, damn, I think I've taken this a bit too far. I had a bit of courage, but I think this is going too far. He carries on investigating. So, when the officials of Punjab, like hyenas, are ready to tear Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra, he stays put in his little house on Kabir Road in Amritsar. On 6 September 1995, while washing his car, a Maruti van pulls up and out jump 4 police officers and 4 camouflaged guys. And while Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra is washing his car, 8 of these men grab hold of Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra and throw him in a van, never to be seen again. On that day, there was a journalist from the Indian Express who was supposed to meet Jaswant Singh Khalra. As he was approaching Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra's house, he witnessed the abduction and told Bibi Paramjit Kaur. Frantically, Bibi Paramjit Kaur, who was working as a librarian in a university at the time, she phoned the police and made frantic phone calls. Not a single person helped Bibi Paramjit Kaur or the family. No one knew where Sardar Khalra had gone after he was bungled into the van. The most tragic and ironic thing about what happened that day to Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra, that the man who had exposed a system that was killing people and getting rid of them illegally, a system that had made close to 25,000 people disappear from the face of this earth, he became a victim of his own project. He became the last to suffer the same fate as all those 25,000 people. If Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra, somebody, a renowned human rights activist, somebody who toured the international community, somebody who'd become prominent and talked about in the circles of government, if somebody like him could be picked up and made to disappear, even after a direct threat to him from Ajit Sandhu in the media. Can you imagine somebody saying to me, somebody from the police saying, right Saab, you're doing all this stuff on RajoanaTV, if you're saying this many Sikhs have died, just count one more to that. And if a few weeks after that threat I am made to disappear, then can you imagine the investigation that would go on in this country? Even after that direct threat, despite the fact that this man is really prominent, no investigation takes place into the death of Jaswant Singh Khalra. Even the CBI don't even pick up on those 2,000 bodies that he found. One year later, a year and a half later, Special Constable Kuldeep Singh, he couldn't live with himself, he was having nightmares. And he plucked up the courage and told the authorities that I myself saw Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra in a room where KPS Gill was sitting for half an hour. He said, I saw Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra's body broken into pieces. Literally, physically broken into pieces. And I heard KPS Gill, the Director General of Punjab Police, say to Jaswant Singh Khalra, you could have avoided all of this. He then saw KPS Gill pull out a gun from his own holster and shoot Jaswant Singh Khalra at point blank range. A year and a half later, he plucked up the courage and he implicated KPS Gill in the murder, abduction and disappearance of Sardar Khalra. And what does the government of India do? What do they do with the information that we actually have a police officer who said that he has seen that the head of Punjab's police kill Jaswant Singh Khalra? What do they do with that information? Do they start their own investigation? Do they look into that death? They dismiss Kuldeep Singh saying we can't take his testimony because it happened a year and he's doing this a year and a half after the event. So we can't trust him. But they do make some arrests. They do make some arrests. They arrest about 6 people and sentence them. And this was just a token gesture. But the real person who had ordered this, the person who had executed this, not only Jaswant Singh Khalra's Shahidi, but also those 25,000 minimum people, KPS skill, he was awarded with a medal, the highest honor that you could get in India, for services to his country. That was KPS skill. But why is it important? Why is Sardar Khalra still raw to someone like me and you guys who've come here today? As we're approaching the 20th year of his 20th anniversary of his Shahidi, why is he still important to us today? Firstly, because it just shows that you don't necessarily need to have weapons and a uniform to be a warrior, to be a soldier. With the might of his pen, with his tie, shirt and trousers, somebody of slight build and looked like a normal uncle, he went and exposed a whole genocide. So the next time, when people tell us that we're liars and terrorists, when we talk about Blue Star, when we talk about 84, just mention that one name, Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra. Nothing else needs to be said. He's found the genocide. Secondly, the reason why Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra is still really raw is because his work hasn't finished. None of us, me included, most of the Sikh organizations out there, our so-called jathedars and community leaders, whoever they are, no one has picked up on his work. No one has picked up on those 2,000 bodies. No one has gone into the other crematoriums and seen where the other bodies are. Where are the 200,000 that we cry about every year at Hyde Park? No one's continued his work. And what's even more galling is none of us, no one in the Sikh community has even pursued the killer of Jaswant Singh Khalra himself. And I think another reason why it's really important that we still have a dialogue about Jaswant Singh Khalra, somebody who did challenge the darkness in India, is because we have this perception that Sikhs have now somehow stopped dying in India. But if Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra was with us, was amongst us now, physically, would he be happy that Saab Singh today is talking to all of you guys and you guys are listening and you might go back and research him? Would he be happy that approaching the 20th year of his anniversary, he's happy with that? Is he happy with the talk on his life, on his mission, on his martyrdom? He would want to know that why as Punjabis, to this day, you guys, me and everybody else, as Punjabis, as Sikhs, what have you done to stop the mass suicide that farmers are doing in Punjab? One farmer commits suicide in Punjab every 3 days. That's a genocide in itself. He would want to know, as Punjabis, with Punjabi blood running through our veins and most of our families as farmers, what have we done about that? He would want to know that why as Punjabis have we not addressed the problem of female feticide in Punjab? He would want to know why there are more illegal abortion clinics in Punjab than the rest of India. He would want to know, for every 1,000 boys that are born, why there are only 700 girls now. He would want to know what we have done to stop these generations dying before they're even born. We talk about illegal crematoriums. There are crematoriums of bodies. There are crematoriums of people, of fetuses before they're even born. He would want to know what we've done to tackle that issue. He would want to know why 3,000 packets of heroin enter Punjab border every day. He would want to know why the Indian Express has said that over 70% of Punjab's youth, and there's no distinction between boys and girls, 70% of Punjab's youth are hooked on narcotics. He would want to know, as Punjabis, what we have done to go back to our pen and address that. What social work have we done to help those addicts? He would want to know, and these are all genuine questions he'd ask us, why there are more government-owned alcohol stores and more government-owned liquor stores in Punjab than there are government-owned schools. He would want to know why Punjab has the highest rate of cancer in India without any sort of medicine or rehabilitation. He would want to know why Punjab is exclusive in the world. The World Health Organization says that only in Punjab do people suffer from uranium poisoning, born deformed in Punjab. He would want to know what we've done about that. He would want to know what we have done about the 9,000 fake dairy that are operating in Punjab today, trying to siphon people away from Sikhi. So Jaswant Singh Khalra would also like to know why somebody like Balwant Singh Rajoana, Davinder Pal Singh Pullar, Jagtar Singh Hawara, why all these people are still languishing in prison on trumped up charges. Sardar Khalra would also ask the question why somebody like Jaswant Singh could be shot on the streets of Punjab in a peaceful protest in 2012 and not a single investigation take place into his death. These are all questions that Sardar Khalra would ask us. He wouldn't be happy with a tribute to him. He wouldn't be happy with just a lecture in his name. These are questions and real problems that we face today. Even if we take Operation Blue Star and the genocide to a side, even if we put that to a side, there's a hidden genocide going on as we speak in our beloved Punjab. And economists have said, if we don't reverse what's happening in Punjab, that by the year 2040, not a child or a crop will grow there. That will be a geographical nucleus of Sikhi gone. In the tragic, brutal drama that was unfolding in Punjab, Sardar Khalra never took a backseat. And I think deep down he knew, 20 years later, there will be people who need inspiration. There will be people who don't need to look back 300 years to find a Banda Singh Bahadur and a Baba Deep Singh or a Bhai Mani Singh, to look back in their history 300 years to find a hero. There are heroes today in our generation, in our own lifetime, that we can take inspiration from. Sardar Khalra's light was so potent that it had to be dimmed, it had to be extinguished. But his work isn't finished. And it's up to us, and especially you guys, because he had a particular love for people like you, people who study in universities. He used to call you guys the intellectual property of the Qawm, people who are going to take us forward. And it's up to us to use the skills that we have to address all these problems that we're facing at the moment. Because in this room, there's a Sardar Khalra in every single one of us. All it takes is a bit of courage. Sardar Jaswant Singh Khalra, may you be born in every generation. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki